Hello? Oh yeah, hi mom. English oral tomorrow. Yeah, no worries about it. It's gonna be easy. Okay, can see you later. Bye.
Okay, sure, you may begin the reading aloud.
I couldn't believe the sight that Sorry, Jack, can I start again?
Sure, you may do so.
I couldn't believe the sight that met me when I arrived at Forest Road this morning. The area had suffered.
Looks like our dear student didn't do so well. Right, what do you think, Teacher Minchin? Indeed, even though the student appeared to be a rather talkative and confident girl when speaking to her mom, she really struggled when it came to reading aloud in front of her oral examiners. And this is usually the case with many students. Yep, that's right. Now, after guiding thousands of students to their English mastery, we have realized that there is this big misconception that many students and parents have, and we want to address that today. Just because a student speaks English at home or in their daily life with their family and friends doesn't necessarily mean that they will do well for their paper 4 oral exams. Hey parents, it's Teacher Minchin and Teacher Derek again, your EduEdge English specialist. With the oral examinations just around the corner, this video today is all about helping your child prepare and speak better in time for the upcoming major exams.
That's right, paper 4 oral is often overlooked. In this video, Teacher Derek and I will share with you and your child how to score top marks, Band 1 for reading aloud the EduEdge way. Let's start with an important question. Does the child know exactly what they are being assessed for reading aloud? Take a look at the PSLE and Cambridge marking rubric. This is the official way that the oral examiners will grade your child.
Now let us unpack it further for you. Simply put, the oral examiners are listening intently whether the student has demonstrated clear pronunciation and articulation, rhythm, and tone. Now, how exactly does your child apply this knowledge? EduEdge students apply the SPAT technique for reading aloud. Now, let me start by first sharing what P represents. Now, first up, the P in SPAT represents pause and pace. For reading aloud, your child will need to take an appropriate pace, which is not too fast or not too slow. They can achieve this by taking suitable pauses at specific areas in their reading aloud text. Now here's an example of what your child will not want to sound like. This afternoon, I watched an exciting hockey match where last year's champions were narrowly defeated by a last-minute goal. I cheered with the crowd at a hilarious tug-of-war match which finished with both sides collapsing on the ground laughing. And later, I stood at the climbing wall where 73-year-old Sarah Chan received a great round of applause as she reached the top. The students' reading still sounded very fast. Now, why is that the case? Pausing at full stops and commas alone will not help your child score well for their reading aloud. Parents, make sure you jot this tip down and share it with your child. A student also has to pause at linking devices such as conjunctions and time adverbials. Often, in their reading aloud text, your child will find that there are several lines that are extremely long. So what they need to do is to break these lines down into different portions and take the appropriate pauses. EduEdge students know exactly where and when to do this. So let's try and apply this tip right now. Take a look at this text again. Okay, so immediately at the start of the text, we already have a time adverbial, this afternoon. So we need to pause after this phrase. So this afternoon, pause, I watched an exciting hockey match, pause, where last year's champions were narrowly defeated by a last-minute goal. In the second sentence, notice it is also extremely long. We need to find somewhere to pause, and that is before the word which. Finally, at the last sentence, there are two areas where we need to pause. First is before the word where, right? So, and later I stood at the climbing wall, pause, where 73-year-old Sarah Chan received a great round of applause. This portion is really very long, so we need to pause again, one last time before the connector S. So, receive a great round of applause, pause, as she reached the top. Now, here's what the text will sound like when we apply appropriate pause and pace. This afternoon, I watched an exciting hockey match where last year's champions were narrowly defeated by a last-minute goal. I cheered with the crowd at a hilarious tug-of-war match, which finished with both sides collapsing on the ground laughing. And later, I stood at the climbing wall, where 73-year-old Sarah Chan received a great round of applause as she reached the top. Alright, so next, what else can your child apply? Let's check in with Teacher Minchin.
Thank you, Teacher Derek. Another crucial element in SPED is T, which represents tone. When your child is reading aloud, they will have to vary their tone of voice at punctuation marks like commas, full stops, and exclamation marks. Here's an example of how your child will not want to sound like. For their performance, the class decided to sing a couple of songs. Kenny, who was from the choir, helped to get his classmates ready for the item. Let's warm up our voices. Follow me as we sing these notes. Kenny encouraged everyone as he showed them the correct way to sing.
Sounds really weird, isn't it? This happens when the incorrect tone is applied at punctuation marks. As a rule of thumb, we usually apply the falling tone
At full stops, and the rising tone at punctuation marks such as commas and exclamation marks. Right, so for the first sentence, for their performance, because we see a comma here, we actually apply a rising tone. So it should sound like this, for their performance, and not for their performance. The class decided to sing a couple of songs, so we should apply the falling tone. So it should not sound like what you have heard earlier. The class decided to sing a couple of songs, which will sound really weird. So Kenny, comma, who was from the choir. So we see that a couple of commas here, so we actually apply the rising tone at the commas. Helped get his classmates ready for the item. So we see a full stop here and we apply the falling tone. Let's warm up our voices. So at the exclamation mark, here we actually apply the rising tone. Follow me as we sing these notes. And we apply the rising tone here for the comma. And Kenny encouraged everyone as he showed them the correct way to sing. And we apply the falling tone at the full stop. Here's what the text sounds like when we apply the rising tone and falling tone correctly. For their performance, the class decided to sing a couple of songs. Kenny, who was from the choir, helped to get his classmates ready for the item. Let's warm up our voices. Follow me as we sing these notes. Kenny encouraged everyone as he showed them the correct way to sing. So these two tips that we've just shared with you have been tested and proven to help our students score higher in their reading aloud section easily. Which is why it is crucial that your child practices these two simple techniques so that they can score higher marks for their oral examinations.
Now parents, what we've just shared is just a snippet of the entire spectrum of the formula style techniques here at EduEdge. Now if you found today's video helpful, do share this with someone whom you know will benefit from the tips we've shared today. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can catch all our latest videos.
In our previous video, we shared with you the characteristics of a student who is scoring Band C in their writing. Stay tuned for the next video where we'll be sharing with you the mistakes that a Band B student is making and how these mistakes can be eliminated.
Yep, that's right. Meanwhile, this is Teacher Derek and Teacher Machen signing off. We'll see you in the next video.